Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise for the procession and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem.
quiser.
I present Elder Campbell to say the prayer.
Naskumauka kiukayas kuahkumagan nawakutas kiyayatsik. Ego mina askiuma iko kepe miwasik. Hauki magati petsikein kinaskum. Iko kepe miukisikak. Iko ke miwasikum mats nauka kiyawihiak. Pewichihinan kamiwasik meska nauka sihtaak. Tai sinimna nakawitsahaakuk. Kinaskum nogek kahkioga peks namatsik ekisihtaatsikekwa. Kinaskum choasimsinawak kussimnawak tai sinimnawak mioawaneatsik. Pektimageimnan pewitsihinan kueskumakap muhteak meskanau. Naskumawak minakahkiok Utaga pewichi go yako. Tapskutsoma kohkom naun pi. Kohkom nau atayokan. Kimusom no akane wapetsek. Naskumaak mina kahkio. Kuako makan sinawak. Maski kiwatekwak. Kahkio wapiseskuak. Kahkio anhe. Kawichi goyahko matsun kamiwasinig. Pekano imnan, pektimage imnan, pewichi hinan kamiopayahkota. Omaks mamage ogamik, kichiks mamage ogamik. Haunohtawi. Iko kemiwasik aski, iko kemiwasik matsun. Iko kemiwasik oma kapewikum kawia, kawichi haya kokokek. Kwes kakoites chigechik. Kamiwako magan yaka kyo. Nanaskum, hi.
Thank you, Elder Maria Campbell. Everyone may be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fassina, and I'm the president here at Athabasca University. And welcome to the 2017 Convocation ceremony and the installation of our board chair of the Governors of Athabasca University, Vivian Manasc. Before we begin this afternoon, I would like to acknowledge the traditional territories where we are gathered today in recognition that we are guests to the original peoples of these lands, especially the Cree and the Métis, both of which were present at the making of Treaty 8. I would now like to invite the Honorable Marlin Schmidt, Minister of Advanced Education, to the podium to bring greetings on behalf of the province of Alberta.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. To the incoming chair, Ms. Vivian Manasc, President Neil Fassina, our honorary doctorate recipient, Dr. Moore, the Order of Athabasca recipient, Dr. Finkel, special guests, graduates, members of the faculty and staff, and ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to bring greetings to you from Premier Rachel Notley and all of my government colleagues, including Colin Paquette, the MLA for Athabasca Sturgeon Redwater, and to join you here on traditional Treaty 8 territory on this special and memorable day. We're here today to celebrate new beginnings. Graduates, you will now reap the rewards of your hard work and sacrifices. Whether it's the start of a new career or even the start of a new educational path, you will take the knowledge and expertise you have gained during your time here at Athabasca University and use it to explore new opportunities. Today, and in just a few moments, we will recognize and celebrate the installation of a new chair of the Board of Governors. I know that Vivian's enthusiasm and passion for Athabasca University and lifelong learning will serve this institution well. Everyone in this room has something to celebrate today. For graduates, it's about taking pride in your achievements, and for the faculty and staff, it's another celebratory milestone of a job well done. As Albertans, we have a great deal to be proud of, and one of the most vital and valued elements of our province is our post-secondary education system. It's something our government places a very high priority on. Education is one of the most important investments a government and an individual can make towards their future. Every Albertan deserves the opportunity to realize their dreams and embark on rewarding and impactful careers. Athabasca has always been a destination for higher learning, innovation, and success. This graduating class has a bright future ahead, and I encourage you to dream big and to follow your hearts. As you leave Athabasca University today with that credential in hand, don't forget to pay it forward. Volunteer, give your time, lend a hand, and support those who need our help, and serve your province and your community by striving to make life better for you and all Albertans. It's what being an Albertan is all about. And Athabasca University and our graduates today are another proud reminder that this province has an incredibly promising and bright future ahead. I wish you all the very best and congratulations.
Thank you, Minister Schmidt, for those words of greeting. I'm now going to ask Vivian Manasc to rise. So Vivian is an architect and principal at Manasc Mosaic, a 60-person firm that is a Canadian leader in sustainable architecture, planning, and design. She is past president of the Royal Architectural Institute of Canada, past director of the Canada Green Building Council, adjunct professor of architecture at the University of Calgary, a founding member of the Sustainable Building Symposium, co-author of Agora Borealis, Engaging in Sustainable Architecture, and a frequent speaker on sustainable design across Canada. She also serves on the National Capital Commission Advisory Committee on Planning, Design, and Realty. For over 30 years, Vivian has worked in Northern Alberta and across Canada's north with Indigenous communities, municipalities, and school districts to create outstanding sustainable buildings that reflect their unique values and visions. Vivian is known for her ability to bring people together, to ask the best questions, to design with beauty and a sense of place, and with a respect for local culture, and to harness the power of the sun. Vivian has a long-standing relationship with Athabasca University. In 2001, she was engaged as the architect and planner for Athabasca University's facilities. In 2006, during her tenure as president of the Royal Architecture Institute of Canada, she was instrumental in the development of the partnership that led to the creation of the Royal Architecture Institute of Canada Centre for Excellence in Architecture at Athabasca University. Vivian also led the planning and the design of the Athabasca University Academic and Research Centre in Athabasca, which was completed in 2011 and achieved LEED Gold certification, as well as the university's master plan and various renovations across Athabasca University's facilities. Vivian is a member of the Order of Athabasca University, inducted into the Order in 2012 as a member of the RAIC Center for Architecture Development Group, in recognition of members' efforts in the development, advocacy, and promotion of the AU Architecture Program. In the fall of 2017, Vivian will be inducted into the Alberta Order of Excellence. The Order is the province's highest honor citizens can receive and is an official part of the Canadian honors system. I'm now going to invite Marlin Schmidt to administer the oath of office and install Vivian Manasc as board chair of the Governors of Athabasca University.
Do you, Vivian Manasc, solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that you will duly, faithfully, and to the best of your abilities and skill, exercise the powers and trusts reposed in you as chair of the Governors of Athabasca University?
I do.
Vivian Manasc, at the request of the Government of Alberta, the Governors of Athabasca University, and by the custom of this university, we hereby install you as chair of the Board of Governors of Athabasca University with all powers and responsibilities pertaining to this office.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Minister Schmidt, and thank you to all of you. Elder Maria Campbell, Mr. President, distinguished guests, members of the Platform Party, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, today I have the great pleasure of welcoming you to Athabasca University's 2017 Convocation ceremony. I'm honored to be addressing you as the new chair of the Governors of Athabasca University. My sincere thanks to Minister Schmidt for supporting my application for this important role through the provincial cabinet. While I am new to this role, I have been part of the Athabasca University family, as you've just heard, for over 20 years, and it's a pleasure to be on this stage to celebrate with you. I'd also like to thank my husband, Bill Deshensky, my sons, Lawrence and Peter Deshensky, who are here, my business partners, who are not here at the moment, my good friends, Judy Barlow and Jolie Wetzel, for their ongoing friendship and support. Thanks also to Marg Mrazek, our interim board chair, for her friendship and leadership over the last years. Many thanks to family and friends, the AU community and beyond, for all the good wishes and support that I've received in the last few months. It's been a whirlwind. It's my particular pleasure to welcome Dr. Michael Moore, the recipient of today's Honorary Doctor of Athabasca University, in recognition of his outstanding contributions to the discipline and practice of distance education, which, as you know, is at the heart of our mission. Celebrating with Dr. Moore is his wife, Cecilia Barbara Moore. Dr. Dietmar Kennepo will be introducing Dr. Moore to you a little later on in the program. And I further have the pleasure of recognizing today's inductee into the Order of Athabasca University, my good friend, Alvin Finkel, in recognition of his commitment to scholarship, service, teaching, and his longstanding dedication and commitment to this university. Celebrating with Alvin today is his wife, my good friend, Anne Goldblatt. Dr. Rory McGreal will be introducing Dr. Finkel to you more fully later in the program. Today, we're also fortunate to welcome Colin Paquette, MLA for Athabasca Sturgeon Redwater, Doris Splain, the Reeve of Athabasca County, and most importantly, you are graduates of the class of 2017. To you, let me say a very special welcome. This is your day, your time, and I'm truly happy for you and for all that you've accomplished. On behalf of the whole Athabasca University community, I'm pleased to welcome you all and all your family and friends who are joining you here to celebrate this special day. At Athabasca University, Convocation is a very special time. In a few minutes, you'll walk across the stage to receive your degrees, and I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you on your very significant accomplishments. As you graduate in 2017, you're entering a Canada and a world that demands fresh ideas, creative thinking, imagination, and leadership. This demands continuous lifelong learning and critical reflection. Your sojourn here at Athabasca University will prepare you for those next stages of your journey, where you'll apply and hone your skills, learn from and teach others, and, as the minister said, pay it forward in making your own contributions towards the world that you want to create. As Canada's open university, Athabasca University is here to stay. We are dedicated to creating opportunities and increasing the quality of education for adult learners worldwide. And you, our graduates today, are living proof of the success of that mission. This is a remarkable place that we're in today. According to some sources, the name Athabasca comes from the Cree word Athabascawa. Maybe I didn't pronounce that correctly. But it means where there are plants one after the other, likely a reference to the reeds and the vegetation along the river. As you may know, the Athabasca River originates in the Jasper National Park at the toe of the rapidly receding Athabasca Glacier. Flowing along melting ice fields and through gorges, it offers wildlife as well as human habitats on its shores and marshes. Alberta's longest undammed river travels almost 800 miles before draining into the Peace Athabasca Delta near Lake Athabasca, a place that I've had the pleasure of actually working at. And from there, its waters flow north, joining the Peace River to form the Slave River that empties into Great Slave Lake and discharges through the Mackenzie River system into the Arctic Ocean. This river is a metaphor for our university, a university that's open and connected to the world, connected to all of the waters of the world, a university that is undammed, providing open access to a rich diversity of opportunities at undergraduate and graduate levels to learners everywhere, and especially in our northern communities. The Athabasca River is a historic waterway for First Nations people. The Sicanni, Shuswap, Kootenai, Salish, Stoney, and Cree tribes hunted and fished along this river. And from about the mid-1700s, the Athabasca River was a key part of the main fur trade routes from the Mackenzie River to the Great Lakes. In fact, Athabasca sits at the place where the North Saskatchewan River and the Athabasca River come the closest, so it was a key portage route. Through our connection to the Athabasca River, we are connected to all the rivers, oceans, landscapes, small towns and cities, rural, remote, and First Nations communities, as well as the large urban centers around the world. Distance education becomes even more important at a time when we are reaffirming the importance of our relationships and our connections to each other, to the water, and to the land. And at this time when climate change is radically changing our landscape and our conversations, our researchers here at the university are leading the conversation about the impact of climate change on the Athabasca River and by extension on our community and our university. And interestingly enough, we are probably the university with the lowest carbon footprint of any in the country. I take my new position at a time of great change and great promise for Athabasca University. By now, you'll have heard of the third-party report that was announced this morning or released this morning by Dr. Ken Coates. I'm looking forward to working with our president, our administration, staff, and the Government of Alberta on developing the strategic plan and actions that will allow us to implement the many recommendations of that report. I'm especially delighted to be working with our new president, Dr. Neil Fassina, who's also on this convocation stage for the first time. Neil is a visionary leader who's decisive and who has experience leading transformative change. And you heard that this morning for some of you who were in the room when he shared his energy, enthusiasm, and optimism about the future and the vision of this university. Dr. Coates' report, based on deep research and extensive consultation, is both thorough and forward-looking. It marks the start of a new phase for our university, one that's positive, progressive, and places AU once again at the forefront of open and distance education, a position that we have been recognized in as a leader in the field worldwide. For almost 5 decades, we've led and innovated in distance education, and working in partnership with First Nations and Northern Alberta colleges, we have provided and will continue to provide educational and professional opportunities to thousands of remarkable graduates like many of you here today. We're at a moment as we reach towards our 50th birthday in 2020 where we can recraft our story so that the future is even brighter. Thomas King, the prominent novelist, said, "If we change the stories we live by, quite possibly we change our lives." And then he said, "The truth about stories is that that's all we are." Now you are part of our story, and we are part of yours. It's a story that will put you, our graduates, as well as the next generation of students, front and center in all of the decisions that we make. We'll have your perspective and your stories as part of our shared compass moving forward. Together with my colleagues on the Board of Governors, our faculty, staff, and the community, once again, congratulations. Okay. Now, what happens next? All right. So what's the next step? I'm trying to find out what the next step is here. Okay, I think Neil.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for those insightful words. And ladies and gentlemen, I will keep my remarks brief to a mere hour and 45 minutes. Just kidding. You got nervous, didn't you? Elder Campbell, Honorable Minister Schmidt, Madam Chair, distinguished guests, members of our platform party, family and friends, and our graduates. Welcome to Athabasca University for this very special convocation ceremony. To our graduates and your loved ones who have traveled to be with us today, I will admit to being as excited as you are for this day of celebration, as it marks my first chance to be part of a convocation as the president of this amazing institution. And we're also pleased to welcome our first graduates from our Greek cohort program, a collaboration between AU and the Technical Education Institute of Eastern Macedonia and Thrace, who I understand are watching our convocation ceremonies today from across the seas. So a big hello and welcome to all of us at AU, to you. an incredible symbol of the reach of this university. For many of you, not only will this be your first time in Athabasca, it will be the first time you have had to meet your fellow learners or the many exceptional faculty and staff here at AU in a face-to-face opportunity. And know that today we all stand united in our pride for your accomplishments and successes being celebrated throughout the day. Few would argue that knowledge enabled through education fuels individuals and their communities to rise to the highest potential. The same knowledge forms the basis of innovation that strengthens the social, environmental, and economic opportunities and diversity. Each of you is a testament to the power of knowledge without boundaries. For some of you, the pressures of everyday home or job life may have limited your time or your ability to study. For others, it was your connection to your community and the culture just simply would have been too large a sacrifice to make to attend a traditional bricks and mortar institution. For other graduates, perhaps it was a limited academic record that was preventing you from attending a university in the past. Regardless of your personal circumstance or background, Athabasca University looked for and embraced only one single thing, and that was your passion to learn. Athabasca University has a rich history spanning nearly 50 years in which we have been systematically dismantling the barriers that learners face in pursuit of their personal learning goals. At each turn, we endeavored to create inclusion and access in ways that no one else could. For instance, did you know that 78% of our learners indicate that if it wasn't for AU, they would not have been able to access university education or would have experienced great difficulties in doing so? Or that 70% of our learners are the first in their family to achieve a university credential. It is numbers like these that reinforce the important place that you, soon, as the graduates of AU, will have in the knowledge landscape of Alberta, Canada, and beyond. And today, you join a group of 30,000 distinguished alumni all over the world, each of which has a story of the impact that AU had in their personal journey. And we hope that you will join them in telling your story proudly. And in turn, know that as you leave today, that you are just as much a part of our story. Know that as you take your next step in your personal journey, we will join you in the next step in our journey towards a bright and prosperous future. And while many are looking to you as leaders in your communities, many around the world expect the same of us. They are looking to AU to be a leader and innovator in open, accessible, and flexible distance learning. Following in your demonstration of strength and persistence, AU will embrace this leadership role for the betterment of our graduates of days gone by, our graduates of today, and of days yet to come. Like you, we are fueled by a passion for learning. Like you, we are strong, committed, and resilient. Like you, we remain focused on our future. And like you, we will continue to rise to our highest potential. As Canada's Open University, we will tell your stories proudly as part of our story as a global model of accessible, inclusive, lifelong learning. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for being here today. Thank you for making AU part of your journey, and I, along with the entire university, wish each and every one of you all the best in wherever your journey may take you. Congratulations once again.
The Order of Athabasca University is given to recipients that have provided exemplary service to Athabasca University or have rendered exemplary service to the community or society while representing Athabasca University. It is my pleasure to invite Dr. Rory McGreal to introduce our inductee to the Order of Athabasca University.
Dr. Finkel, will you please stand? I've known Alvin from before I even came to Athabasca University in the 1990s when we were putting up some of the first online courses, and Athabasca was one of the leaders in putting up a social history of Canada courses online. Alvin is probably one of the most renowned historians in Canada. His co-authored text, The History of the Canadian Peoples, Volumes 1 and 2, is now in its 6th edition, and it's a major accomplishment by any standard. One reason for the success of the text is that Alvin understands how students learn and how to engage them in the learning process. In fact, I believe that Dr. Finkel is the only professor in Alberta who has been named a hot tamale by the Rate Your Professors site on the internet. His text speaks to the issues of ethnicity, gender, age, and occupation, making the learning process inclusive, a one in which we see ourselves in others. He has written at least another 10 books as well. His concern for others in this province is reflected in his past service with the Edmonton Social Council, whose mission is a healthy, just, and inclusive community. And for better or worse to the minister, he is also a frequent media commentator on Alberta social issues and politics. He is particularly dedicated to AU and probably knows more about it than any other person we know. In many years driving up from Edmonton to Athabasca, someone might ask Alvin a question about the history of Athabasca University, and he'd start talking and he'd go A to Z, and we'd be about D, E, or F by the time we arrived in Athabasca. And of course, he would then be able to continue the story on the way home. I have a congratulatory note here from David Finch, who is a modern Canadian historian, and he graduated from Athabasca University in 1981, and he studied with Dr. Finkel. And this David Finch is the author of more than 20 books himself about the Canadian West, and he was recently featured in several episodes that many of you may have seen on the Story of Us on CBC, and he was there helping them to accurately portray the story of the West. And he wrote these words: Dr. Finkel pushed me. As his student in the early 1980s, I studied Canadian history with him as he wrote and tutored courses under development. He continued to encourage me in history to do the master's degree and become an AU tutor and pursue the entrepreneurial life of a career as a public historian. Dr. Finkel inspired in me a profound love of history, and it is a great honor to congratulate him today as he receives the Order of Athabasca University. It is my pleasure to present to you today the 2017 inductee into the Order of Athabasca University, Dr. Alvin Finkel.
There's the pin. Okay. And that is your order, but I'm going to add a comment here. I'm just going to
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to add a personal note in congratulating Dr. Finkel. Alvin, I've known, I think our two sons went to elementary school together, and we used to hang around at the Rio Terrace playground watching our children play, and it was then when I first learned of Athabasca University. I didn't even know that this institution was around at that time, and I remember long conversations at the playground when Alvin would explain to me the history of Canada and the history of Athabasca University. So congratulations, Alvin.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On behalf of the university, we present you with your certificate.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, thank you, Rory, for those very kind introductory comments. Madam Chair, Mr. President, distinguished guests, members of the Platform Party, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored to be inducted into the Order of Athabasca University. I regard this honor as a recognition not only of myself, but all of the faculty, tutors, professional and support staff who were involved in the earliest years of Athabasca University in trying to fulfill a mission of creating an alternative kind of university. Our goal was to meet the needs of students who, for reasons of work, childcare arrangements, place of residence, or learning styles or learning challenges, could not do all or any of their studies in a conventional bricks and mortar university. For those who were returning to their studies after a long time away from formal learning, we offered not only the possibility of combining studies with other obligations, but also avoiding having to attend university with people half their ages and without common experience to theirs. We were a small group at first. When I joined the AU faculty in 1978, there were only 11 faculty, and the total staff was about 80. We were housed in 2 warehouse buildings in the northwest of Edmonton. I knew everyone by name at the end of the first week. We had few students, and we only offered 8 courses. No one had graduated from Athabasca University yet. Colleagues from other universities were dismissive or downright hostile to distance education. I had the privilege, as an early member of the faculty, to write 10 different courses, to revise many of those courses over the years, and to contribute to other courses while helping to devise various degrees, serve on many university committees, including the Board of Governors for 6 years, and to serve as the first chair of the editorial committee for AU Press. A number of those courses have formed the basis of textbooks and monographs that I have written that are used across the country, and which, along with other works by my colleagues, have calmed fears that existed among some conventional university colleagues that distance education professors would ignore the crucial component that research and publication serves within the work of university professors. Over the years, because of the dedication of our faculty, our tutors and our staff, and the keenness of students like yourselves, AU has turned the dreams of many who would otherwise have been unable to complete their educational objectives into reality. No doubt in part because of the good work that Athabasca did in those early years, distance education is now well regarded, and most post-secondary institutions have at least some distance offerings in some or all of their faculties. Most other universities and many employers regard the skills of Athabasca students as exceptional because, in addition to having to complete similar assignments and exams to those in parallel programs at other universities, Athabasca students demonstrate a special degree of ability to learn and work independently. But Athabasca remains different because distance and adult education are its entire purpose. Unlike other educational institutions, particularly in our early years, AU had the feel of a true democracy, a real community of learners with a flat hierarchy where everyone from the president to students was on a first-name basis. I hope that sense of an inclusive community will be a legacy always within AU, and that its alumni, whom today's graduates now join, will always feel like they are part of the conversation about the future of this university, which I think continues to rededicate itself to the mission and the values that we pioneers hoped so sincerely that it would. Thank you to all of my colleagues, old and new, for the work that you do in the service of our students, and to all of the graduates for being the embodiment of the new type of university student whom the pioneers of AU hope to serve. Congratulations on this day when the entire Athabasca University community celebrates your achievements. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Alvin, for your inspiring remarks and for joining us here today. This is a great honor, and we're really proud to share this with you. And thank you so much for all the work that you've done for the university.
Madam Chair, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I present to you the petition that these graduates, having fulfilled all the requirements of the statutes of Athabasca University, may, with your permission, be admitted to the degrees to which they are entitled.
On behalf of the Board of Governors of Athabasca University, I declare this petition granted.
So I'm trying to actually look straight at you as I ask you the following questions. Do you promise, when you are admitted as graduates of Athabasca University, to observe faithfully and to maintain loyally the statutes, customs, and privileges of this your university? And do you promise to accept and exercise with good judgment the authority and responsibilities of the graduate and to conduct yourselves in all things loyally and faithfully to the honor of your university? And do you promise to use the knowledge, the skills, and wisdom you have acquired to the enhancement of the reputation of the university for the advancement of learning and for the betterment of all?
I do so promise.
That was your last test.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the legislature of this province and with the consent of the General Faculties Council of this university, I admit you and those in absentia to the degree to which you are entitled and confer upon you all the powers, rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to that degree.
Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honour to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Doctor of Education, and Dr. Muhammad Ali and Dr. Pamela Haranek will join you to receive the graduates. James Duncan McIntosh, Vancouver, British Columbia. James' first introduction to distance education was a course from the College of Piping in Glasgow, Scotland, on playing the bagpipes. He considers it one of his greatest achievements. Are you going to play for us today, James? One of the things he will most remember about his Athabasca University doctoral studies is the emphatic, close-knit congeniality of the first doctoral cohort in the Centre for Distance Education. He thanks his colleagues and teachers for their collaboration and dialogue. James has worked at Athabasca University for 18 years as a tutor in communication studies. James Duncan McIntosh. Congratulations, James. Efrosny Maria Skodaki, Kingston, Ontario. Efrosny Maria was attracted to Athabasca University by the fact that the Doctor of Education program was designed for experienced learners and welcomed their perspective and ideas on how education can be effectively applied in the workplace. Also, the Centre for Distance Education allowed her to develop an interdisciplinary dissertation and build a committee with various backgrounds for her program. She looks forward to continuing on this research path and making new connections while striving to maintain the connections already made. Efrosny Maria Skodaki. Timothy Peter Workman, Calgary, Alberta. This capstone effort to Timothy's academic journey would not have been possible without the tremendous support, insights, and encouragement of many people, including his wife Karen, colleagues Rod Savoy, Mark Little, Larry Sampson, and the faculty and staff of Athabasca University. His profound thanks and gratitude go to his dissertation supervisor, Dr. Pat Fay, whose wise counsel, fascination with epistemology, and depth of knowledge continues to inspire and encourage him. Timothy Peter Workman. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Doctor of Education graduates.
Madam Chair, Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Master of Education, and Dr. Muhammad Ali and Dr. Pamela Horanek will receive the graduates. I want to begin, though, by acknowledging our 8 graduates joining us today from Kavala and Athens, Greece. These are the first graduates of our Greek cohort program, so thank you. Carrie Jane Avery from Edmonton, Alberta. While Carrie had many great professors, she particularly enjoyed working with Dr. Augustos Tanakos. She acknowledges her classmates, specifically group members. She had the opportunity to get to know, especially the other Carrie and Jason. She gives thanks to her mom, Moray, her son, Dylan, and most of all, her husband, Lawrence, for all their support. She enjoys getting away from Alberta winters and celebrated the completion of this degree with a trip to Maui and Kona. Carrie Jane Avery. John William Carey Brown from Edmonton, Alberta. John's favorite course was Master of Education in Distance Education 210. He loves technology, and Professor Craig Montgomery allowed students to explore a variety of technologies that existed in the world of distance learning. John thanks his wife Stacy, who diligently supported him, edited his grammar, and took care of their kids when he was immersed in coursework. Without her selfless servanthood, this achievement would not have been possible. John William Carey Brown. Timothy Charles Bulger from Edmonton, Alberta. Timothy acknowledges his family for the support they provided while he was pursuing his Master of Education degree. He gives special thanks to his wife Tina for being very supportive, as well as to his son Forrest and to his parents, Eileen and Charlie. Timothy Charles Bulger. Janice Edith Cochran from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. One thing that Janice will remember about her Athabasca University experience is the great sense of relief she felt every time she pressed the send button on the final assignment of each course. She acknowledges her husband, who patiently did chores, critiqued papers, and listened to her woes as she progressed through her studies. And she acknowledges her daughter for being her cheerleader and for giving her the moral support she needed to persist. Janice Edith Cochran, congratulations. Gwen Patricia Dawes Harker from Airdrie, Alberta. For Gwen, accomplishing a personal goal while at the same time being able to make daily use of the knowledge and skills she learned while on this journey was a true blessing. She will also remember the great experience of meeting new people from across the globe who shared common interests and are passionate about the teaching and learning process. She thanks her husband, Andrew, and her children, Josh, Caitlin, and Annika, for their patience and encouragement. Gwen Patricia Dawes Harker. Serena Bernadette Henderson from Athabasca, Alberta. Serena considers it a great personal achievement to have raised her 3 children while working full-time and completing a master's degree with thesis at a 4.0 grade point average. She was able to maintain a good work-life balance. She continued to volunteer for her children's activities, and she devoted energy to several new endeavors such as kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. She is grateful for the support she received from family, instructors, and many others throughout the time of her studies. Serena Bernadette Henderson. Lorene Gail Kaminsky from Athabasca, Alberta. From Lethbridge, Alberta. After Lorene carefully considered programs offered through Canadian, US, and British universities, she found that Athabasca University offered the program that best fit her learning goals and was most applicable to her work environment. Her favorite course was Methods in Distance Education 210 with Craig Montgomery. Among other people, she thanks her husband and 2 daughters for their continuous support and encouragement. Lorene Gail Kaminsky. David Theodore Litwin from Edmonton, Alberta. It just seemed appropriate to David to study distance education through literally distance education. However, when he began, it had been more than 30 years since he had completed his undergraduate degree, so it was with some trepidation that he set down this path. Fortunately, his instructors were very supportive, and the experience actually kindled a desire in him to learn more. He acknowledges his wife, Barb, for her support, and thanks the many classmates with whom he worked on group projects. David Theodore Litwin. Ian Robert Stanley McPherson from Toronto, Ontario. Ian acknowledges Professor Greg Montgomery, Marty Cleveland Innes, Griff Richards, and Marguerite Kuhl, who, each in their own ways, provided marvelous motivation and encouragement. They elicited in him a love of learning which he had not dreamed possible. He also acknowledges his wife, Dr. Carla Cizioni, without whom he would probably not be here today. He could not have asked for a more supportive, helpful, and understanding spouse. Ian Robert Stanley McPherson. Roland Hans Carl Missling from La Pas, Saskatchewan. This degree was a requirement for the position Roland held with his employer. Completing it at his age was a tremendous personal achievement that he never thought he could attain. There were many outside issues that almost caused him to give up, but with strong support from family, his employer, and the other community supports, he managed to persevere and succeed. He thanks his family and his partner for their continued support throughout his studies. Roland Hans Carl Missling. Debra Pollock from Belleville, Ontario. Debra enjoyed a career as a military search and rescue helicopter pilot, then returned to school to become a dentist in the Canadian Armed Forces. She now serves in Europe and is responsible for the dental care of military members and their families. She desires to advance dentistry on a global scale. This degree will allow her to pursue greater academic challenges. She thanks her family, friends, and employer for their support, with special recognition to her daughter, Kira. Debra Pollock. Artie Ramji from London, Ontario. Artie recalls her very first course at Athabasca University. She was reading a fellow classmate's introduction, which the student had written from a beach in Australia. It was at that moment that Artie realized the immense power of distance education and the fact that a person could literally be anywhere in the world and still receive a life-changing education. She thanks her children for their support and sacrifices throughout her studies, and her husband for his guidance, wisdom, and humor. Artie Ramji. Jennifer Diane Roush from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Jennifer has been in the field of education for 12 years, starting as a K-12 teacher with specialization in English as a second language. Now, due to this degree, she works as an educational developer for the Teaching and Learning Center at the University of Manitoba. She chose Athabasca University so she could learn about distance education and instructional design from the leaders in the field. She thanks her husband, her parents, her professors, and her fellow classmates for their support. Jennifer Diane Rausch. Natasha Margaret Roberts from Calgary, Alberta. After choosing Athabasca University for the convenience that it offered, Natasha found that class sizes were small and one-on-one dialogue with instructors was not only possible, but it was encouraged. She acknowledges Dr. Debra Hoven for helping her along the final stretch of the program. Dr. Hoven's patience and support were outstanding. Natasha thanks her mom for all the care and support she provided, and her father for encouraging her to follow her dreams. Natasha Margaret Roberts. Nakisha Natalie Rose from Edmonton, Alberta. Nakisha completed this degree in 2 years. It was her drive to make a difference in education that led her to do so. She is happy to say that she learned, not memorized, her way through. She acknowledges Dr. Susan Bainbridge and Dr. Mary Kennedy for making her distance education experience feel as though she had been enrolled in face-to-face classes. She thanks her husband for the incredible support he provided on all fronts throughout her studies. Nakisha Natalie Rose. Ashraf Alan Rushdie from Toronto, Ontario. Ashraf and his wife Emily moved from Bantam-Bag, Cambodia to Edmonton, where they had their first child, then from Edmonton, Toronto, to where they had their second child, and he changed jobs with each move. He can't imagine what other structure of formal studies could enable him to stay on course through all of these changes. He expresses his admiration for the dedication of each of his professors and deep gratitude to Emily for unflagging support. Ashraf Alan Rushdie. Amanda Ray Sates from Canusa, Alberta. Amanda's course, Introduction to Mobile Learning, was a game changer in the way technology could be used in education. There were so many considerations and options that she had not previously thought of. In fact, the best takeaway from her degree studies was realizing the power of reflection and reflective learning. She thanks the staff and faculty for providing an efficient and positive experience, and for her family for being so patiently supportive. Amanda Ray Sates. Warren Peter Trace from Springwater, Ontario. Warren found that each course in his program had multiple things for him to take away and apply in practice. He could clearly see the effort made to ensure the program was relevant to each student, regardless of the pathway taken. He thanks his wife for being such an ardent supporter of his academic pursuits, and his parents who follow his journey with interest and encouragement. He is now continuing his studies and is reviewing program options. Warren Peter Trace. Lindsay Tucker from North Vancouver, British Columbia. In Lindy's free time, what she likes to do is Wait a minute, is there such a thing as free time in Lindy's life when you have 2 children, work full-time, and are completing a degree? Not really. She thanks her husband, her children, her mom, and her sister for their continual support throughout this journey. She thanks her fantastic professors for their continual energy and dedication. She will also remember the welcoming, supportive, inclusive nature of the discussion forums. Lindy Tucker. Tracy Lee Woodburn from Collington, Alberta. Tracy chose Athabasca University because both she and her husband live and work in the community. She appreciated the genuine enthusiasm shown by her tutors, as well as the incredible amount of work that they and the design teams put into each course. She thanks the Research Center and the University Library for their support, as well as special thanks to Drs. Rory McGreal, Muhammad Ali, and Evelyn Ellerman. She also thanks her husband and children for being very patient throughout her studies. Tracy Lee Woodburn. Sarah Yarnell Powell from Toronto, Ontario. Sarah took up higher learning after a long hiatus away from school. Most of her assignments were completed at 33,000 feet while traveling for work. She loved collaborating with her classmates, especially Mary Shire, Rob Winkler, and Carrie Crawford, and she thanks every professor who shared their stories, gave intense feedback, and responded with warmth and humor. She is grateful to her husband for doing the dishes every night while she studied. Sarah Yarnell Powell. Yevgen Yasinski from Edmonton, Alberta. A number of the courses in his program directly contributed to Yevgen's professional growth by using real-life assignments. The knowledge, feedback, and advice he received from his professor was applied to multiple projects that in turn benefited his workplace in many ways and improved his understanding of education on a program level. He is looking forward to applying his acquired knowledge to improve the experiences of students in his workplace. Yevgen Yasinski. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Master of Education graduates.
Madam Chair, Mr. President, I have the honor to present the graduates for the Master of Arts Integrated Studies, and Dr. Wendell Kisner and Dr. Pamela Haranek will receive the graduates. Jennifer Jane Bettiol, Vancouver, British Columbia. Jennifer came into the Master of Arts Integrated Studies program to study adult education. However, she loved her first course, Comparative Canadian Literature, so much that she decided to change her focus to literary studies. She thanks her husband, Dennis, for all his support. 30 years after supporting her through her chartered accountancy exams, he found himself married to a student again. Jennifer Jane Bettiol. Charlene Debra Bonner, Lloydminster, Alberta. Charlene acknowledges Professor Carolyn Reddle, who introduced her to autoethnography, which legitimized a form of writing she was interested in, personal reflection enhanced by research for instructive purposes. She used this method in her final project, and she is forever grateful to Dr. Veronica Langali for her support in the project. This self-reflective project has renewed her passion for the work she does with her students. Charlene Debra Bonner. Annex Marie Rose Day from the Moge, Ontario. Annex will remember the unique diversity of students in each and every course of the Master of Arts Integrated Studies program. They each brought varied academic backgrounds and rich professional experiences that enabled them to contribute to high-quality academic forum communications. She thanks the staff and professors for their support and guidance, and she thanks and appreciates her husband for his encouragement and her parents for their love and support. Annex Marie Rose Day. Kirsten Hahn, Calgary, Alberta. Athabasca University sounded like a good fit for Kirsten. She was interested in the broad interdisciplinary nature of the program and the opportunity to study community development in a unique way. Her favorite course was Narrative Possibilities with Veronica Langali, where she developed greater skills in writing for personal development. She thanks her husband Josh and her parents for their incredible support and encouragement while she completed this program. Kirsten Hahn. Toril Marie McLean, Orleans, Ontario. The first literary studies class that Toril took as an elective was English 551 with Dr. Pavado. As soon as she started the class, she knew that literary studies would become her focus area. She was totally hooked with the novels and excited to write papers. She acknowledges her son Owen, who was so patient throughout her studies, and her husband Rob, who never said a word when the visa bills came in with her tuition fees on them. Toril Marie McLean. Timothy Mark McGee, Turner Valley, Alberta. Timothy found the course on Canadian and international labor education to be extraordinarily transformative. It changed the way he looked at virtually every aspect of culture, society, and the role that education plays in them. He thanks his wife Rebecca and children Ashley and Callie for being so patient while he devoted time to his studies. He also thanks Dr. Reineke Langali, Dr. Mike Gismondi, and Dr. Fritz Panicook for their brilliant instruction, challenging dialogue, words of wisdom, and wealth of experience. Timothy Mark McGee. Heather Setka, Calgary, Alberta. Heather chose Athabasca University because she really wanted a Master of Arts degree, and there was no way she could quit her job to study in a traditional setting. She may have initially had doubts about distance education, but she has now become an online learning convert. She believes it is a fantastic learning approach and the best one for her. She gives special acknowledgement to her parents for giving her the gift of higher education and the desire to pursue it. Heather Setka. Tammy Lee Stenner, Selwyn, Ontario. Tammy has 3 bachelor's degrees in modern languages, education, and international development, but she did not attend the graduation ceremony for any of them. This Athabasca University Convocation is her first post-secondary graduation. She thanks her family for their understanding and support through her many years of study, and she thanks Leslie Main Johnson for her inspiration, guidance in reading courses, and her final project. Tammy Lee Stenner. Megan Joan Anita Turner, Westville, Nova Scotia. Megan is known for being habitually busy, very scheduled, and regimented. She always has multiple things on the go and has very limited room for anything that isn't planned. So it stands to reason that she chose Athabasca University for the freedom and flexibility to study independently and to work around her work schedule. She thanks the Inspire organization for financial support and her mother for ensuring that she furthered her education. Megan Joan Anita Turner. Janath Leon Vesna, Mount Albert, Ontario. Janath decided to pursue this degree because her dad believed in her and encouraged her to dive in now rather than waiting for the right time. Due to cancer, he didn't get to see her complete this program, but she knows how proud he would have been. She acknowledges her professors, who were all amazing. She gives her biggest thanks to her husband and their 2 boys for supporting her and giving her the time, space, and encouragement to keep going. Janath Leon Vesna. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Master of Arts Integrated Studies graduates.
John Cotton Dana once wrote, "Who dares to teach must never cease to learn." Dr. Michael Graham Moore is the Distinguished Professor Emeritus of Education at Pennsylvania State University. We are privileged to have him here with us today to bestow an honorary doctorate degree. He is probably one of only a handful of people in the world who have been instrumental in building the foundation of distance education as we know it today. The Rutledge Encyclopedia of Educational Thinkers, published last year, identified Michael as one of the 128 most important, influential, innovative, and interesting thinkers on education of all time. Although you can't tell from his accent, Michael grew up in England and attended the London School of Economics, where he attained a Bachelor of Science degree in economics and later a postgraduate certificate in education at Goldsmith College. Early on in his career, he worked in Kenya, which was key to his career path. There he taught non-traditional adults through correspondence education and teaching by radio. It was there that he also became aware and formed initial connections to the University of Wisconsin and Charles Wedemeyer, who he then joined in 1970 as his research and graduate assistant. After completing his PhD at the University of Wisconsin, he saw opportunity further north and came to us here in Canada. Well, not actually right here, but at St. Francis Xavier University in Nova Scotia, where he was assistant professor. Unfortunately for us, it was only 3 years, and he decided to return back to England, where he joined the Open University. And as you know, the UK Open University is the second best open university in the world. After about a decade there, he took on a faculty position at the Pennsylvania State University and later became Distinguished Professor of Education. He is known in academic circles for leadership in conceptualizing and developing the scholarly study of distance education, nowadays simply referred to as e-learning and online learning. He published the first statement of the theory on distance education in 1972. This later became known as transactional distance theory. Since then, he has achieved a number of other notable firsts in laying the foundations of this field. This included helping to found the first national distance education conference in the 70s, starting one of the first online forums called Distance Education Online Symposium, and establishing the first American research journal, the American Journal of Distance Education. Dr. Moore has received many honors and is a sought-after scholar and advisor around the world. He has also made numerous substantive contributions to education, which I find is highlighted by several important general principles that Michael holds to. First, the focus is on being systematic in your approach and humanizing education rather than just emphasizing technology. Second, build stronger connections between theory, research, and practice. In other words, don't reinvent the wheel. Third, provide non-traditional and disenfranchised learners access to quality education, which, by the way, directly aligns with our own university's mission of breaking down barriers to university education. Finally, what I think is the most important principle, and that one that we should all be thinking about carefully, especially today during Convocation, is Michael's lifelong interest in education for development. He not only wishes others to do this, but you've seen from my introduction, he also embodies this himself. At Athabasca University, we describe this as learning for life. So those who are graduating today, we pause to celebrate your achievements. I would encourage you not to only look back at your accomplishments, but also to look forward and realize, like Dr. Moore, there's always much more to discover and more to learn. And to Michael, you've been a pioneer in distance education for decades. You've been a valued colleague, friend, and mentor to so many of us. Both are very appreciated, and both will be remembered for a long time. You have been an example for us all. Indeed, who dares to teach must never cease to learn. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Dr. Michael Graham Moore.
Madam Chair, Mr. President, distinguished guests, members of the Platform Party, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. First, thank you, Professor Kennepoel, for your kind words of welcome. And in response, let me first express my gratitude to Athabasca University for the honor that you have conferred upon me. I have been a friend and associated with this university from its very beginning, and if time permitted, I would reel a long list of the names of people with whom, faculty with whom I've cooperated over the years. But let me just say a special thank you this afternoon to Professors Anderson, Drawn, Mohammed Ali, and Rory McGreal, who have been almost lifelong friends, and I do appreciate all the support I've received from you. President Fassina, you might remember that when you called me with the news that I was to be so honored, my immediate impulsive reply was that while naturally delighted to be awarded an honorary degree from any university, this would mean more to me than any other. I hope that what I'll say now to the graduating class will help to explain why I responded in that way. In a nutshell, it is about distance education. North America's premier institution of distance education is Athabasca University. And it is distance education, its theory, research, publication, and practice that has been the focus of my entire working life. And even before saying more, let me, in thinking of my entire working life, ask you to acknowledge my wife, Cecilia, who has supported me over the last 53 years of this endeavor, and surely I would not be here without her support and love over that time. And it began in the 1960s. We were married and we went straight to East Africa, at that time still, believe it or not, a British colony. And I discovered there the merits of radio broadcasting as a way of connecting experts in the university with people who wanted to learn but were far from the university. And on the basis of 7 years' experience there, when I had the opportunity of coming to North America, in fact, at first, the hope was I would come to Canada, but I did not obtain a position at one of the Canadian universities, but I was offered the opportunity to go to the University of Wisconsin and to work with the American educator Charles Wedemeyer, who had himself just returned from England, where his ideas were being realized in the creation of their Open University. At a time when it was assumed that quality in education was synonymous to listening to a professor in a classroom on a campus, when any other way of learning was considered second-rate, Wedemeyer first demonstrated that through the appropriate use of technology, not only could learning be opened up to a large number of people across the lifespan, but, and here is the critical point that I want to hammer home before leaving today, it could be of better quality than even what could go on in the classroom. A more individualized learning experience than was offered in the lecture theater. For that to occur, the very idea of teaching had to change. Rather than replacing old technology with new technology in the traditional classroom, Wedemeyer invented a new system in which courses were designed and taught by a whole team of specialists, a team that linked together the talents of the university professors together with instructional designers, media producers, tutors to manage student interaction, evaluators, librarians, and learning counselors. And over the next 10 years, that systems model was taken up by open universities around the world, developing what many would argue is the most advanced form of university education. And at Athabasca University today, as I understand the official policy states, and I quote, "The development of AU courses is led by the course coordinator who meets with a community of specialists in content design, online teaching and learning, multimedia, editing, production, and evaluation," close quotes. So yes, I said this is the most advanced form of higher education. Other universities and colleges, and I'm now consulting around the country and around the world as they scramble to find ways of using technology in, for example, MOOCs, flipped classrooms, blended learning, as well as offering courses online. In the United States, about 1/4 of the country's 20 million students are taking at least one distance learning course. And you've been doing it for 50 or so years. And most of those courses, from what I've seen, are rather poor. It's not surprising, because those institutions were not set up for distance learning. Their budgets do not allow the necessary investment in course design. They have too few technical support staff in ratio to the content experts. Their faculty are not selected or trained or rewarded for distance teaching, and for a host of other reasons, it's almost impossible for them to provide the high-quality learning experiences that you graduates have experienced in a dedicated distance education system. And one last thing, again referring back to our history, before called distance education, what we do was often called independent study. It was called this because our students were not only independent from instructors in the locations where they studied, but they also carried more responsibility, more independence than other students about how they managed their study. And we've heard story after story after story this afternoon of self-managed students. And it's this core value in our field, this respect for and nurturing of the student's autonomy, control, and engagement in the learning process that I ask you graduates to remember and explain it to others as something special in your distance learning experience. I don't need to remind you, because you know you have learned about your self-motivation, your self-discipline, your skills of self-management. Skills that will prove a tremendous asset and give you a real edge in competition with others in both work and further study in years ahead. So it's not only a university diploma that you should celebrate today, but the way in which you earned the diploma, that it was at a distance teaching university, the most advanced form of higher education today. And better yet, it was at one of the world's great and famous distance teaching universities. It was at Athabasca University that you graduated. And that's also why, like you, I am so proud to accept my degree from Athabasca University. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moore. Those remarks were inspiring and really timely in light of the conversations that we're having today about the future of this university. It's a really great reminder as to the reputation that this university has earned over the last 50 years and the bright future that we face going forward into the next. Now, I think we have Asani coming up. I think we have Asani coming up, do we? As Asani comes up, I'd like to share with you, oh, there they are. The very first time that I heard Asani perform was actually at an event that some of you may have been at. About a decade ago, there was an event called Alberta at the Smithsonian, when the entire province of Alberta showcased our art, our talent, our community, and our culture in Washington, D.C. on the Mall. And at that event, Asani performed at the evening celebration of our post-secondary institutions. And when I heard them perform, I was just blown away. It was so inspiring. So when I understood that Asani would be here today to celebrate our convocation, I was absolutely delighted. Asani in Cree means rock, and they are a rock. They're a group of artists, of musicians who bring a very unique perspective on music and on culture to our university. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Asani back to our stage.
would like to sing, we were going to sing a Niwichiwagan. It's a Cree blessing song. The words of this song are, my friends, I sing this song for you. I ask the Creator to give you a good life with love to you all. Niwichiwagan, Nitikoshe. Niwichiwagan, kinkamostamaten, di manito menao, nundo tamawao, miopi masi egwa mesta he, sagihito wen, kiawa wache.
Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, and Jill Hunter will receive the graduates. Amanda Christina Cox, Edmonton, Alberta. Amanda had previously attended another institution but accepted a job in her field before completing the degree. Deciding that it was still important to complete a degree, she found that the program offered by Athabasca University was the best fit since it allowed her to work full-time while pursuing her studies. She thanks her parents and her husband Aaron for their encouragement and support while completing her degree. Amanda Christina Cox. Colleen Dawn Harvey, Calgary, Alberta. Colleen's History of Psychology course and her sociology courses really woke her up. They made her realize the importance of asking questions and digging deeper to find truths, and taught her not to blindly accept common ideologies. She thanks her family for supporting her in many ways while she completed this degree. She gives special recognition to her daughter, whose inspirational notes and drawings filled her study area, providing constant inspiration. Colleen Dawn Harvey. Connie May Inglis, Edmonton, Alberta. Connie started this degree in 1981. Then after getting married, having 3 children, attending 6 post-secondary schools, living in 4 countries outside of Canada, moving more than 25 times, and experiencing many family events, she has finally graduated. Her favorite course was Advanced Fiction Writing with Angie Abdu. It set her on the path to writing a complete novel. She thanks her husband for his faithful support and unfailing belief in her ability to do this. Connie May Inglis. Jill Elena Jenkins, Bonnyville, Alberta. For Jill, finding time to work on her courses while raising 4 children was challenging, but with help from her family and friends and a few extensions, she managed to get it all done. Her tutors were so helpful, especially Cass Forsha Stevenson and Joanne Foote, who provided great feedback and support. Jill thanks her children, Brennan, Mira, Isla, and Adriana, for their love that makes everything endurable. And she thanks her parents for their love and encouragement. Jill Elena Jenkins. Joel Stephen Kisner, Grand Prairie, Alberta. Distance learning was the best option for Joel since he could not quit his job to pursue his education. He found that Athabasca University had a great reputation, and when he mentioned that he was attending here, he found it interesting how many others had done the same. He thanks his family for being tremendously supportive throughout his studies, especially his grandmother, whose constant interest kept him motivated and on task. Joel Stephen Kisner. Helene Patricia Larocque from Calgary, Alberta. For Helene, Athabasca University was a symbol of possibility for achieving her academic goals. It offered her the degree of her choice and allowed her to finish each course within the time commitment she had as a working single parent. Completing this degree became a personal journey where each course was like a rung on a ladder that led her to reach her goal. There were challenges, but each one made her stronger, braver, and more confident in achieving ultimate success. Helene Patricia Larocque. Heather Ann McMullen, Edmonton, Alberta. Heather appreciated the diversity of knowledge she acquired during her studies. Her favorite courses included linguistic anthropology, biological psychology, and the history of the Canadian education system. She acknowledges her husband for supporting her completely by helping to pay the tuition fees, cheering her on, and holding down the fort. She also acknowledges her parents. They went to university, and she always wanted to follow their example and set the same example for her children. Heather Ann McMullen. Ria Lorette Michaud, St. Paul, Alberta. During the time that Ria studied with Athabasca University, she moved to and from Bolivia twice. The university never missed a beat, providing tutor support, invigilated exams, and course material by both mail and email. Being accustomed to the bureaucratic delays of a developing country, she found Athabasca University's efficiency to be astonishing. She has many people to thank for their support throughout her studies, most significantly her son Marco, her father Jeff, her late mother Donna, and her brother Neil. Ria Lorette Michaud. Michelle Przanowski, Edmonton, Alberta. Michelle will always remember how the faculty and staff of Athabasca University believe in their students. No matter what challenges she faced, they kept her going until she completed her goal. She also thanks the staff at the Don Wheaton Family YMCA for their support. Deb and Steve were her professional mentors and inspired her more than they know. Finally, she thanks her best friend, the person who gave her life, her mom, who always believes in her abilities. Michelle Przanowski. Carla Tanya Sawyers, Mississauga, Ontario. Carla feels fortunate to be working for a great group of people who allowed flexible shifts at work to accommodate her study needs. She thanks the funding team at Mercedes-Benz Financial Services for their support, flexibility, and understanding, and for being her biggest cheerleaders. She also gives a special shout out to her mom and Marvin for pushing her to the finish line and encouraging her to never quit because the reward would be as great as the effort. Carla Tanya Sawyers. Randolph Wayne Schwark from St. Catharines, Ontario. Randolph enjoyed working with Dr. Ella Haley and a fellow student to help design and write a sociology course for Athabasca University. He chose this university for the flexibility of the online program, as it allowed him to work at his own pace from home any time of the day or night. He appreciated the well-designed courses and the ability to work full-time while pursuing his degree. He thanks his sister Tammy for encouraging him and for flying out here to be here today. Randolph Wayne Schwartz. Chrysaula Zikuli, Mississauga, Ontario. Going back to school after many years of working professionally was quite a challenge for Chrysaula. She chose Athabasca University for the flexibility to earn a degree without disrupting her full-time profession. She thanks her mother, Alexandra, and her father, George, for always providing her with opportunities to succeed in life. She thanks her partner, Nico, for always staying by her side, and her godson, Christopher, for being her shining star during her late-night studies. Chrysaula Zikuli. Dawn Wampold, Cochrane, Alberta. This degree has allowed Dawn to explore topics that have always fascinated her, like history and archaeology. All of her anthropology professors were amazing, and she loved working with every one of them. Dawn's job has often required her to travel, so Athabasca University allowed her to study wherever she went, like airports and hotel rooms. She thanks her husband Robert, her daughter Cassidy, and her parents Richard and Darlene Pitch for their support. Dawn Wambold. Jacqueline Withers, Edmonton, Alberta. Jacqueline sends a shout out to John Cairo for slowly but surely convincing her that she was university material after all. She would not be here without his encouragement and support, and she will forever be grateful to him for the many ways he improved her life. She also thanks Sapna Segal for helping her to refine her writing skills. It has done wonders for her grade point average. Jacqueline Withers. Allison Delane Young, Calgary, Alberta. Allison acknowledges professors Tobias Wandala and Amanda Baldwin for being creative and inspirational as they supported her educational goals. With their support and a lot of her own hard work, she was accepted into all of the Master of Arts programs she applied for, and she has decided to take the Master of Arts Social Justice and Community Engagement program at Wilfrid Laurier in Brantford, Ontario, where she's been offered a full scholarship for her tuition. Alyssa Delane Young. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Bachelor of Arts graduates. Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of General Studies, and Dr. Jane R. Scott will receive the graduates. Maksud Chowdhury, Mississauga, Ontario. The flexibility and versatility of Athabasca University is what attracted Maksud to this program. Plus, the university has a great Canada-wide reputation. His professors were very supportive, and he appreciated how responsive they were to his questions. During his studies, he lost his job due to a company restructure. He then focused full-time on his studies, and upon completion, was surprised at how quickly he landed a new job. He thanks his wife Asmiri for all of her support. Maksud Chowdhury. Sarah Sanam Collette, Richmond Hill, Ontario. This has been a long journey for Sarah, and there have been many changes and obstacles along the way. She thanks her coworkers, managers, family, and especially her husband and son for supporting her and encouraging her to keep going and to never give up. After being in post-secondary education for the last 16 years, she's looking forward to traveling and spending more time with family, at least until next year when she looks into starting a master's program. Sarah Sanam Collette. Curtis Peter Eric Custers, Niagara Falls, Ontario. Curtis chose Athabasca University because it was the most convenient way to obtain the university degree requirement for a chartered professional accountant designation. So, one of his claims to fame is that he returned to school at the age of 45 and almost 5 years later earned his CPA designation. A travel addict, he will travel anywhere, anytime. For example, from Niagara Falls to Athabasca for a university convocation. Curtis Peter Eric Custers. Louisa Gertrude Daly, Calgary, Alberta. Our next graduate prefers the name Louise because she says her given name, and I'm quoting, just makes her feel old. Born in March of 1924, Louise hails from Norton in Northern England. Proud of her English heritage, she has been a loyal fan of the show Coronation Street ever since it premiered in 1960. This is her second degree with Athabasca University. Her instructors consider her to be a quintessential lifelong learner and an ideal student who takes classes for the love of learning. She found everybody at Athabasca University to be exceptionally helpful and gives special recognition to Martin Rainey in the Access to Students with Disabilities office. When facing challenges, Martin inspired her with the words, "We do not surrender." She also recognizes Associate Professor Jane R. Scott and celebrated author and Assistant Professor of Creative Writing, Angie Abdu. Ever since her work with Angie in her last course, Louise has been working on writing her life story. She believes that graduating with this degree gives it a perfect ending. She is honored to be accompanied here today by 4 generations of family members and 2 dear friends. That's 9 women from across Canada, all here to cheer her on. Louisa Gertrude Daly. Kelly Ann Marie Ferguson, Calgary, Alberta. Everybody warned Kelly about taking statistics classes, but guess what? She ended up loving the class. She sees even more statistics classes in her future. She thanks her husband for his total support throughout her degree studies. He was her motivation for returning to school after she watched him pursue a degree in a field that he is passionate about. He demonstrated how going back to school was possible while working full-time and maintaining balance with the family. Kelly Ann Marie Ferguson. Mujtaba Hassan, Scarborough, Ontario. Mujtaba will always remember his interactions with the administrative staff of Athabasca University and the level of professionalism they showed towards students. Their assistance and support was incredible. It reduced his level of stress and helped him stay focused on completing his degree studies. He now plans to pursue his Chartered Professional Accountant designation and will do his best to make a positive mark on the financial industry in Canada. Mujtaba Hassan. Candace Suzanne Manschreck, Okotoks, Alberta. Obtaining her degree while working full-time made for some challenging times for Candace as she had to juggle work, life, and school. As a result, she learned how to better manage her time and how to dig deep, push through, and just get things done. She will remember the feeling of accomplishment as she completed each course, taking her a step closer to her end goal. She thanks her family and friends and her boss and fellow employees for their support and understanding. Candace Suzanne Manschreck. Lana Kim McDonald, Marethorpe, Alberta. Athabasca University allowed Lana the flexibility to combine courses from other institutions to complete a degree as required by Chartered Professional Accountants Canada. She graduated as a Chartered Professional Accountant and Certified General Accountant in October of 2016 at a convocation ceremony in Calgary. She thanks her family for supporting her while she completed her studies. She could not have achieved this goal without their support. Lana Kim McDonald. Julian Andres Morales, Toronto, Ontario. This degree fulfills one of Julian's dreams and is his most meaningful academic achievement yet. It serves as proof to him that there are no limits when it comes to achieving one's personal goals. He thanks his family for their love and support and for being the inspiration that kept him motivated and focused. Julian is now employed by the very organization that, at one time, he could only dream of working for after seeing it through the window of the bus that he was a passenger on. Julian Andres Morales. Lacey A. Parkin, St. Thomas, Ontario. Lacey will never forget how helpful the Athabasca University staff have been, right from when she first applied to helping with course selection and degree selection. Her instructors went far beyond her expectations to ensure she understood the concepts and stayed on track with her course deadlines. She is very proud to be a graduate of Athabasca University. She thanks her husband Rick and their daughters Emma and Allie for all of their patience and support. Lacey A. Parkin. Linnell Jane Guderan Ringor, Edmonton, Alberta. Linnell was nervous about transitioning from in-class instruction to online instruction, and it caused some delays in her getting started. After she completed a few online courses, she realized there was nothing to be nervous about. She thanks her loved ones for their support and her tutors and other university staff for helping her on this journey. Next up, she's very happy to have been accepted into an after-degree program that she has been vying for since last year. Linnell Jane Guderan Ringor. Nasir Saeed, Whitby, Ontario. Now that he has completed this degree, Nasir plans to pursue his Chartered Professional Accountant and Certified General Accountant designations while continuing to work in the accounting profession. He acknowledges and thanks his friend Naren, who encouraged him to pursue further education even when he himself did not think it was possible, and who also helped guide him through his professional experience over the past number of years. Nasir Saeed. Anthony James Sutherland, Nepean, Ontario. Anthony chose Athabasca University because his peers in the Certified General Accountants program recommended it. This degree fulfilled the degree requirement for the Chartered Professional Accountant program. He thanks his Athabasca University tutors, Yessie Beale and Terrence Taylor, for contributing towards his success. He also thanks the academic advisors who assisted him in planning his courses. Anthony James Sutherland. Linda Wingate, St. Catharines, Ontario. Linda chose Athabasca University for its great reputation. Many of her co-workers had excellent experiences here. She was amazed by the support she received, something she did not expect from an online university. Living in Niagara, she always felt that help was only a click or a phone call away. She thanks her husband Gary for supporting her throughout her studies. She now qualifies for higher paid positions in her work where a degree is a requirement. Linda Wingate. Anne-Marie Winger, Simcoe, Ontario. Anne-Marie chose Athabasca University because it offered the most accommodating and flexible program for people who work full-time while upgrading their education. She appreciated the staff and faculty for helping to make the courses so enjoyable. She gained a lot of knowledge, both theoretical and practical. Of the many people she has to acknowledge, she gives the most thanks to her husband and her mom for always encouraging and supporting her. Anne-Marie Winger. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Bachelor of General Studies graduates. Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Health Administration, and Dr. Joy Fraser will receive the graduates. Kara Ann Cooper, St. Albert, Alberta. Because Athabasca University allowed Kara to work on her studies at her own pace, she was also able to enjoy life with her family, including going camping, traveling, eating healthy meals, and reading books together. She thanks her husband Ryan for his incredible support and encouragement, and she thanks her daughters Willow and Bridget and her parents for cheering her on. This degree will allow her to pursue a career that she is passionate about. Kara Ann Cooper. Tanya Dawn K. Crook, Beaumont, Alberta. This graduation is Tanya's proudest achievement. She thanks her husband and children for the many sacrifices they made while she pursued this goal. Of course, there were challenges along the way, including finances, illnesses, the loss of loved ones, and the stress of family demands. Her perseverance paid off as she landed a job almost immediately with the Health and Wellness Department for the Métis Nation of Alberta, an achievement for which she is truly grateful. Tanya Dawn K. Crook. Hassan Ali Farah Saeed, Calgary, Alberta. The courses at Athabasca University changed the way Hassan views politics, economics, social issues, and business interactions. There are professors such as Dr. Cal Hauserman and Dr. Jane Smitten who will have an everlasting positive impact on his academic and professional endeavors. He thanks his professors, tutors, and other staff who helped him on this journey, and he thanks his girlfriend Karen for her support. He couldn't have done it without her. Hassan Ali Farah Saeed. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Bachelor Health Administration graduates. Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Human Resources and Labor Relations, and Dr. Jason Foster will receive the graduates. Mofe Hintalua Timitayo Amadi, Calgary, Alberta. In Mofe Hintalua's final year of studies, with more than 5 courses to go, she became pregnant with her 3rd child and was sick for the entire 9 months. With assistance from family and support all around, she completed most of the program. However, after the baby was born, she felt overwhelmed and lost confidence in her ability to complete. Fortunately, phone calls and emails from her professors, along with support from her family, got her through to the finish line, and she is grateful. Mofe Hintulawa Timitayo Amadi. Veronica Ruth Evtushevsky, Sherwood Park, Alberta. Veronica chose Athabasca University because it had the curriculum that interested her, the flexibility to pursue her degree in ways that suited her life, and the potential to jump into a grad program eventually. She thanks her mom, who has always been her biggest fan, her daughter, who has been her faithful companion on this journey, and her husband, who has supported her every dream and goal unwaveringly. She is happy to say that she has been accepted into a grad program. Veronica Ruth Evtushevsky. Sherry Lee French, Elora, Ontario. For Sherry, the best thing about having completed this degree is that she has kept a promise she made to herself in her early 20s. Also, she has shown her children that anything is possible and dreams do come true. She could not have done this without the support and sacrifices made by her children, who were always cheering her on, and the support of her family and friends. She will never forget the feeling when she hit the send button on her very last assignment. Sherry Lee French. Patsy Phyllis Caspira, Yorkton, Saskatchewan. Patsy feels very fortunate to have had great support throughout her studies from family, friends, and the organization she works for. She acknowledges her dad for challenging her to push beyond her self-perceived boundaries, and her mom for always assuring her that it would all be worth it in the end. She thanks her husband Brian and their daughters Ashley, Caitlin, and Heather for understanding when she couldn't attend certain events due to studying. Patsy Phyllis Caspira. Chandala R. Migwa, Calgary, Alberta. One thing Chandala will remember about Athabasca University is writing so many papers. She gives special thanks to her mother who pushed her to finish this degree, and also to her friends who not only supported her, but studied with her as well. She acknowledges her former managers who encouraged her educational development and growth. She now looks forward to traveling more and enjoying the outdoors and not writing any more papers. Chandala R. Miga. Charmaine Anne-Marie Mifsud, Haines, Alberta. Charmaine chose Athabasca University because it worked well with her life. She very much appreciated Dr. Michael Welton, who was incredibly supportive and absolutely encouraging. She will also remember her last semester where she completed 5 courses. Wine helped her make through it. She thanks her family and friends for their support, including her daughter Michaela, her best friend Cindy Bork, as well as MLA Kim Schreiner. Charmaine Anne-Marie Mifsud. Miranda May Pellerin, Grand Prairie, Alberta. The online format and flexibility of the Athabasca University program appealed to Miranda because she lives in a northern Alberta community where there are not many options other than outreach. She thanks her family for always supporting her, encouraging her, and believing she could achieve her educational goals. She looks forward to starting a career in human resources and entering a new field of work. Miranda May Pellerin. Jessica Ashley Saskus, Edmonton, Alberta. Jessica thanks her mother Elaine for being a never-ending source of encouragement when school deadlines and life piled up. One interesting memory from her Athabasca University experience was completing one of her term papers in Quito, Ecuador, the night before going off the grid on a scuba excursion to the Galapagos Islands. This summer, she will be dancing in front of St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow's Red Square in Russia as part of the Moscow Spasskaya Tattoos Highland Dance Team. Jessica Ashley Saskus. Laura Saunders, Edmonton, Alberta. Laura's family was thrilled when she decided to pursue her degree. They were especially proud that she was able to manage the demands of 2 newborns, all while attending school full-time. The flexibility of Athabasca University's course structure allowed her to schedule time for her studies without sacrificing her family life. A most memorable moment was receiving the letter of approval to graduate. It brought life to an accomplishment she had worked so hard to obtain. Laura Sanders. Odian Haley Welch, Edmonton, Alberta. Odian considers herself to be a scheduling master, and because of that, she was able to work a full-time job and a part-time job while completing her degree on time. She attributes the trials and adversity of life to helping her grow into the person she needed to be to successfully complete this program. She thanks her brother and her grandfather for believing in her abilities. She thanks her friends who supported her vision even when they could not see it themselves. Odian Haley Welch. Alicia Amanda Yetman, Fort McMurray, Alberta. Alicia thanks her parents for their unconditional love and support while she worked, raised her kids, and pursued this degree. Last year's wildfire in Fort McMurray interrupted her studies and her life in general. After she and her 2 children evacuated and relocated in Fort Saskatchewan, they were able to resume a somewhat normal routine, all things considered. She appreciated the support she received from Athabasca University during this very challenging time. Alicia Amanda Yetman. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Bachelor of Human Resources and Labor Relations graduates. Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Professional Arts, and Dr. Carolyn Green will receive the graduates. Madeleine Belanger, Lac La Biche, Alberta. The courses that Madeleine enjoyed the most were those that allowed her to express her identity as an Indigenous woman through the writing and the coursework. She received an award for academic excellence from Saddle Lake Post-Secondary, and she received an award from her local Friendship Center as a role model in education. She thanks her husband and children for all of their support and her employers for allowing her time away from work when necessary. Madeleine Belanger. Rebecca Heather Cloutier, Edmonton, Alberta. Athabasca University appealed to Rebecca because the program integrated well with her other studies. She had 4 years to complete this degree, but she is pleased to have finished it in just a year and a half. She thanks her husband for supporting her throughout this educational journey, as well as everybody who gave her a helping hand along the way. She is happy to finally be free from studying and can now focus on finding a job in her field of interest. Rebecca Heather Cloutier. Mila Monica Dell, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Mila recognized an opportunity with this degree program to learn, develop, and achieve something that she had long wanted to do. Some people may have doubted that it was the right move for her, but she trusted herself and chose self-discipline over fear and regret. This is a very meaningful achievement for her. She thanks the many people who supported her, including her parents, her brother, her friend Robin, her husband, and most importantly, Henry and George. Mila Monica Dell. Lynn Pearl Fluette, Edmonton, Alberta. Lynn thanks Evelyn Ellerman for answering the phone the first time she ever called Athabasca University, and for believing in her and being her inspiration along the way. After putting her career on hold to have 4 children, this degree gives Lynn what she needs to step back into the working environment with confidence. Her dream office is a cabana on a Caribbean beach with a laptop in one hand and a margarita in the other. She's just not sure how the kids fit in. Lynn Pearl Fluette. Mitchell William Gallagher, Calgary, Alberta. In 2014, Mitchell was employed by the Justice and Solicitor General, and he had to attend a 16-week training program that included 8 additional courses. On top of that, he took 4 Athabasca University courses. To make it through, he kept telling himself that it would be worth it in the end. With encouragement from his family, he was able to pass all of the courses. He thanks his mom, Wendy, his stepfather, Derek, and his girlfriend, Tiffany, for all their support. Mitchell William Gallagher. Phil Goudreau, Nepean, Ontario. Two months into his studies, Phil and his wife Catherine decided to have a baby. He didn't know how caring for a pregnant wife and then a new son would affect his studies. Well, he managed to carve out time each week for his studies and completed 12 courses in 18 months. He thanks Catherine and their 1-year-old son Simon for their patience and love throughout this program. Guess what? Within 3 months of graduating, he landed a better job. Phil Goudreau. Guntash Gill, Edmonton, Alberta. For Guntash, the best thing about completing this degree is being accepted into law school. Her journey to become a lawyer begins in September as she has been accepted into a law program in England. After many years of hard work and determination, she is excited to fulfill the dream that she and her parents have shared of her becoming a lawyer. She acknowledges her parents for their support throughout her educational journey. Guntash Gill. Richard Gilbo, Victoria, British Columbia. Richard is not the same person he was when he began this journey 8 years ago. Now that this goal is complete, he looks forward to discovering how some of his new perspectives will alter his view on things he has experienced and the things he will be experiencing going forward. He thanks his wife, Xiao, for encouraging him to keep going and for giving him the space to do so. He thanks his mother for instilling in him the need to pursue post-secondary education. Richard Gilbo. Chelsea Lee Hulan, Gibbons, Alberta. Chelsea has been a mother, a homeowner, a full-time employee, and a military wife, all while being a student. Halfway through her studies, she welcomed her second son into the world. Through gray hair and raccoon eyes, she became that much more meticulous with her schedule so that she could set an example and become a university graduate. She thanks her mother and her grandparents for their positive encouragement and her husband Tyler for his endurance. Chelsea Lee Hulan. Carolina Kaczynski, North York, Ontario. There were times during Carolina's studies that life put her through the ringer, and she is amazed that this day has finally arrived. She couldn't have done it without the support of her husband and children, and she thanks Dan, Brendan, and Oliver for being her inspiration and her pillars of life. She extends her appreciation to Dr. Jane Arscott, Dr. Mark Demersky, and Cass Forsha Stevenson for believing in her and for encouraging her to keep her spirit up through challenging circumstances. Carolina Kaczynski. Marilyn Jean Kingdon, Sherwood Park, Alberta. It had been one of Marilyn's life goals to graduate from university, so this gives her a great sense of accomplishment. Her favorite Athabasca University courses were in the area of political science. She had no idea she would enjoy them as much as she did. She thanks her husband, Doug, for all his encouragement while she pursued this educational goal. She thanks her kids, Stephanie and Matthew, for allowing her the time and space she needed to be successful. Marilyn Jean Kingdon. Carlana Dawn Marie Clammer Eastwood from Vegreville, Alberta. Carlana chose Athabasca University for the flexibility and ability to accommodate a very strict timeline. After receiving a block transfer credit of 2 years, she completed the remaining 2 years of this program in 9 months, while at the same time working full-time and being the mother of a 15-year-old. This has allowed her to move into a professional position that she used to dream of as a girl. She thanks all who have supported her and made this possible. Carlana Dawn Marie Clammer Eastwood. Danielle Courtney Lapine, Edmonton, Alberta. Without the convenience of completing her studies online, Danielle would never have been able to receive her 2 diplomas and now this degree. She thanks Athabasca University for this opportunity, and she cannot thank the Access for Students with Disabilities team enough for being so supportive and accommodating. She also thanks her mother and her brother for their support, understanding, and encouragement, which is what made this achievement possible. Danielle Courtney Lapine. Diana M. Longman, Spruce Grove, Alberta. Diana chose Athabasca University initially because it allowed her to apply her specialized diploma towards degree credits. She has since learned the joy of online learning and is very glad that she studied here. Her tutors allowed her the freedom to think outside the box, and she will always remember James McIntosh's patience with her off-the-wall ideas and papers. She thanks her mom and dad for their patient and understanding support throughout her studies. Diana M. Longman. Munib Ahmed Malik, Edmonton, Alberta. While pursuing this degree, Munib trained for and is now employed full-time in law enforcement. There were times when the demands of his career limited the pace of his studies. He was at ease knowing that the flexibility of Athabasca University's programming allowed him to prioritize other demands when the need arose. He is grateful for the professors specializing in law enforcement who imparted their wisdom and who served as exemplary role models for his chosen career. Munib Ahmed Malik. Nareen Margarayan, Edmonton, Alberta. Nareen thanks her husband and her children for their tremendous support and patience during her studies. She also thanks the professors and staff at Athabasca University who helped to make it a joy to learn new things. She believes in the saying, if it does not challenge you, it won't change you. So to everybody at AU, she says, thank you for the challenge. Now that this goal has been achieved, the possibilities are endless. Nareen Margarayan. Anthony Murray Montgomery, Calgary, Alberta. A major factor for Anthony in choosing Athabasca University was the ability to receive credit for coursework completed at other post-secondary institutions. Once here, he found the academic advisors to be phenomenal. He gives special thanks to Jamie Gibson and Amanda Boone. He thanks his family for all of the support they provided throughout the process of this program, and he now hopes to one day pursue a master's degree. Anthony Murray Montgomery. Laura Linda Rosemary Roberts, Calgary, Alberta. One of the biggest things Laura learned from Athabasca University is that anything is possible. She learned to test her limits, her drive, and her persistence. The experience has absolutely transformed her into the person she is today, and she is excited to get out there and leave her mark on society. She has already begun her master's degree in integrated studies. She thanks her mom for sacrificing everything to help make her dreams come true. Laura Linda Rosemary Roberts. Jamie Lee Vander Linden, Tabor, Alberta. During her studies, Jamie Lee encountered some challenging times, including the pursuit of new job placements, a move to a different town, and travel. These were risks she was willing to take, as she knew that the flexibility of Athabasca University programming would allow her to stay focused on her studies, even while tending to the other demands of a busy life. She thanks her mom, as well as Lyndon and Peyton, for their support while she was on this journey. Jamie Lee Vander Linden. Donna Lee Webster, Lac La Biche, Alberta. Donna's most memorable experience has been what she learned through her Indigenous Studies courses. As a Métis woman, she has gained immeasurable pride and knowledge in who she is as an Indigenous woman in Canada. She now passes this information on to the Indigenous people she works with. She acknowledges the great support she received from her husband, her son, and her daughter throughout her studies. Their sacrifices helped her achieve this goal. Donna Lee Webster. Danielle Marie Usick, Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Danielle thanks her family for their love and support throughout this educational pursuit. The challenge would have been much greater without her mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, and Angela. She also thanks her great instructors, especially John from Athabasca University and Murray from Lethbridge College. She will remember the group projects in John's classes, which required teamwork, critical thinking, and a sense of humor, and an appreciation for the Calgary Flames. Danielle Marie Usick. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Bachelor of Professional Arts graduates.
Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for the admission to the degree of the Master of Science, and Dr. Larbi Esmahi and Dr. Pamela Hronik will receive the graduates. Bola Ambibola, Edmonton, Alberta. A dedicated learner, Bola has appreciated the opportunity to study online with Athabasca University. He believes that there is a very strong connection between living and learning. He thanks his parents, Wande and Felicia, for their support and encouragement throughout his life. He thanks his wife, Bosse, for her unconditional love, and he thanks his wonderful sons, Tunde and Larry, for all of their support. Bola and Bibola. Sami Abdullah Mohammed Haji, St. Albert, Alberta. This journey was truly remarkable for Sami. He enjoyed learning from Doctors John Drawn and Ching Tan, as well as Richard Huntrods and his fellow students. He thanks Dr. Ching for being his mentor and research advisor. Dr. Ching's insight and continuous support was much appreciated. Sami also extends his appreciation to the Faculty of Graduate Studies for their dedication and hard work. He thanks his family for their patience and support during this program. Sami Abdullah Mohammed Haji. Tichuana Huata, Edmonton, Alberta. Tichuana acknowledges the brilliance and excellence of Dr. Maiga Chang, who nudged him in the right direction during the writing process of his essay titled Intrusion Behavior Pattern Detection. He thanks his professors and fellow students for providing a wondrous learning experience. He gives special thanks to his wife, Christina, for her abounding love and encouragement, and to his mum, Maud, for her unconditional love and support. Tichuana Huata. Kazim Karbalai, Richmond Hill, Ontario. Athabasca University gave Kazim the flexibility to study on his own schedule, which was good because finding the time to study between family and professional life was challenging. He managed by creating a schedule and incorporating his studies into family things, like free time during his children's sports classes. He thanks his wife and children for encouraging and supporting him, and he thanks Dr. Larbi Esmahi and all of the professors and staff for providing an engaging academic experience. Kazim Karbalai. Louis K. Lay, Calgary, Alberta. Louis' self-esteem and confidence have increased as a result of completing this degree, and is able to produce results more efficiently and effectively. He dedicates the achievement of this degree to his wife Angela for her patient support throughout his studies. He thanks Linda Gray for her kind assistance. Also, his supervising professor, Dr. Lin, for his warm support, and all other professors who have provided him with guidance and assistance from start to finish. Louis K. Lay. Michael Madan, Edmonton, Alberta. Today, Michael enjoys watching his kids play soccer, and he also manages his son's soccer team. But when he was younger and much more adventurous, he once jumped out of an airplane with not much more than a parachute on. He ended up landing in a tree, much to the disappointment of the skydiving company. He thanks his wife, Poonam, and their two boys, Mathan and Mehul, for their support and encouragement while completing the degree. He dedicates this achievement to his daughter, Priya, who passed away before he was finished. Michael Madam. Charles Mungo, Regina, Saskatchewan. This master's level degree is one of the top milestones of the 10-year career goals that Charles set when he first landed in Canada. The research-based approach of the course broadened his knowledge in various fields of study, and he was able to relate and immediately apply the knowledge acquired to his work environment. He thanks his family for their patience and sacrifice throughout his studies. He thanks his company, Sasktel, for giving him the opportunity to study for this program. Charles Mungo. Supasanthar Tiruvasagam, Mississauga, Ontario. Perhaps other graduates and their supportive families can relate to Supasanthar's experience. Until his daughter was 4 years old, she thought he lived upstairs and went to work to study. He appreciated the flexibility of his master's program and how it allowed him to progress at his own pace. He thanks his professors and other staff members who helped and guided him along the way. He gives special thanks to his wife and his older daughter, Laya, for their support. Supasanthar Tiruvasagam. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Master of Science graduates. Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for the admission to the degree of the Bachelor of Science, and Dr. Ken Muniqua and Dr. John Drawn will receive the graduates. Kevin Ritchie Brown, Edmonton, Alberta. Kevin's embedded robotic programming course, led by Richard Huntrods, was a favorite of his. He hadn't worked in electronics for many years, so this course required him to tap into his dormant knowledge to design, build, and program a robot. The course perfectly reconciled his past and current career paths, as he is now a systems analyst and he programs regularly. He thanks his wife, Eileen, for her support, encouragement, and motivation. Kevin Ritchie Brown. Jim Kagarecki, Calgary, Alberta. Jim chose Athabasca University because of the flexibility that the Bachelor of Science program allowed. He gives thanks and acknowledgement to his wife for being very supportive throughout his studies, his dad for teaching him the value of education, and of course all of the Athabasca University professors who contributed to this experience. He plans to apply his new skills at work to help advance his career. Jim Kagarecki. Katrina Victoria Snow, Bruderheim, Alberta. The flexibility of the Athabasca University distance education model is what attracted Katrina to the program. However, when she was working in Alberta's oil sands, she still found it a bit challenging, having to study and work camp rooms. She's happy to have finally completed her degree and will not miss the studying. She acknowledges her family for their support during her studies. Katrina Victoria Snow. Roberto Carlos Vaquerano, Edmonton, Alberta. Roberto loved his philosophy courses, especially Philosophy 252. Feedback from the tutor, Chris Lepock, was excellent. Roberto loved math and coding, so his math courses and coding courses were not only challenging, but fun for him. He acknowledges his parents for sacrificing everything so he and his brother could have a better life in Canada. He thanks his wife for all of her support, especially when she looked after the family while he was busy reading textbooks. Roberto Carlos Vaquerano. Christopher Stephen Workman, Calgary, Alberta. Christopher decided to attend Athabasca University after establishing the goal of becoming a physician and an educator. He appreciated the flexibility of being able to work and study at the same time, plus he could complete the degree much faster here than at a traditional university. He attributes his success in business and in education to having a goal-oriented philosophy, a persistent positive attitude, and a dedication to excellence. Chris is looking forward to opportunities to develop skills in furthering his career aspirations. Christopher Stephen Workman. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Bachelor of Science graduates.
It is customary at each ceremony for a student to deliver a speech to his or her colleagues. This year's address to the graduates will be given by Ria Michaud. Ria hails from St. Paul, Alberta, so please join me in welcoming Ria to the podium.
Elder Campbell, Madam Chair, Mr. President, members of the board, distinguished guests, members of the platform party, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, families, supporters, and friends. As students, today is an incredible day for us. This is the day we officially mark completion of a significant goal in our lives. We celebrate our accomplishment and anticipate new goals. I have been asked to speak on behalf of the students today, and I am honored and humbled by this request. I suspect the organizers thought that someone who takes 27 years to complete a Bachelor of Arts degree must have a story to tell. And the truth is that while my story is certainly unique, it is merely representative of many of the stories that we all bring to the Assembly today. We have all struggled to make time for our studies, families, jobs, responsibilities, and entertainment. We have managed to complete our degrees by distance learning, relying on our own discipline to succeed. Our families and friends were probably more involved in our education than they would have been had we been enrolled in courses on campus and attended in person. My son, for example, grew up hearing me read aloud from psychology textbooks, lecture anyone who would listen on environmental issues, and delight in learning more about local history and archaeology. I came to Athabasca University in 1999. I had completed 22 courses toward a Bachelor of Arts degree at Lethbridge and Calgary right out of high school, and then left it for 7 years. When my son was born, I embraced being a stay-at-home mom, but craved intellectual stimulation. I decided to pick up working on my degree. For me, Athabasca was the only logical choice. I wanted to be at home with my son, not in a classroom. One of the first things I discovered, however, is how challenging correspondence courses can be. Remember that in 1999, online wasn't even a word yet. I had always done well in school and in university, but suddenly discovered that I was not as smart as I thought I was. I had really just developed an impressive knack for knowing what the professor wanted to hear repeated back on the exam. And now, at 27 years old, I actually had to learn how to learn the material. It was a challenge I embraced and for which I am grateful, as it has proven to be a valuable lesson in life. I said Athabasca University was the only logical choice for me, and I can't say that enough. In 2001, my family moved to Bolivia, the heart of South America, for 10 months to live with my husband's family. Athabasca really didn't miss a beat. They arranged for invigilated exams, delivered the next course's materials, and ensured abundant tutor support. One of my tutors even arranged for me to meet up with a friend of hers traveling through South America. And in due time, we moved back to Alberta. In 2003, my mother was run over by a car while walking in her own driveway one winter evening. She suffered multiple physical injuries, including a brain injury, and for the next 10 years, our focus as a family was on ensuring her quality of life. In 2009, I spent another year in Bolivia, and Athabasca made the transition smoothly once again. In 2011, my mom broke her leg, which set in motion a catastrophic chain of events that resulted in her death in 2013. My son and I moved in with my dad, and 2 years ago he was diagnosed with dementia. Through all the chaos, moves, and changes, I was able to keep studying. When I needed extensions, I got extensions. When I needed tutor support, it was always available. And when I needed a not-so-subtle nudge, that came as well. I cannot thank the tutoring staff enough. For one course, I found I could read ahead and answer questions longhand on paper, but never found a moment to do any online quizzes. And my tutor would periodically check in to see that all was going well, accept my reassurances that it was, even though she could see absolutely no evidence of any progress of any kind. Think of what a leap of faith that must have been. Although perhaps it was not such a leap of faith. As we did not attend formal classes in person, we did not meet up with each other and hear each other's stories the way our tutors and other staff would have. I suspect that my story is not truly exceptional, that each of us here has found ways to overcome the challenges of our own life circumstances that are all remarkable. We did this because we have the persistence, drive, and commitment to work toward our goals. We also benefit from the fact that Athabasca University is uniquely accommodating and adaptable to whatever our situation requires without compromising their own high standards and ethics. I am grateful for having learned the importance of lifelong learning, of staying current, doing research, reading with a critical mind, not being intimidated by scholarly writing. These are assets that serve me well in all areas of my life. I would also like to respectfully acknowledge the contributions of our family, friends, and support networks. As graduates, we are receiving our degrees today, but we all know how necessary your contributions have been. Over the past 27 years, there were many times I thought I would not be able to finish, when the challenge seemed too great. My parents, son, partner, in-laws, brother, coworkers, friends, especially Cynthia, all stepped in to get me past the difficult time and back on track. Thank you to all the family and friends who contributed to our success today. Thank you for taking on responsibilities, for being our sounding board as we explored new ideas, for taking surveys and psychology tests and giving opinions about controversial subjects. But above all, thank you for believing in us. For me, this is a day of grieving as well as a day of joy. Athabasca University has been a part of my life for so long, I am struggling to say goodbye. I hope to be back in a master's program someday. But today, my co-graduates, is our day to celebrate. I am so proud to be part of this exceptional group with you here with you today. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhea, and thank you for those really timely remarks that reflect on the vision of this university and the power of this university to change lives. I challenge all of you, our new graduates, to continue to change lives as you continue on your journey, and to remember Athabasca University, to come back, to do more degrees, and to invite all your friends to be part of this great institution. We want to thank everybody today for having attended our convocation, and to invite all of you, graduates and families, to attend the luncheon that's sponsored by the Athabasca Union Students Association and the Athabasca University Graduate Students Association immediately following the ceremony. The ceremony is now recessed. Members of the audience are requested to rise and remain at their seats until the platform party, members of the board, members of the faculty, and graduates have completed their exits.